Welcome to the Creatives, Radio Now's entertainment talk show. My name is Doris Okorie. You'll be listening to us every Friday at 8 p.m. on Radio Now 95.3 FM and also on our other platforms. On our website, www.thisisradionow.com, on Facebook, facebook.com/thisisradionow, and on YouTube, Radio Now Studio. Today in the studio, I have, as always, a very, very interesting guest. I'm super excited. I have with me in the studio a Nigerian filmmaker, writer, and producer. She's one half of the writing duo, Writers Inc. If you love everything about movies and how the magic you see on the big screen is created, you should definitely stick around for this one. You're tuned into the Creatives on Radio Now 95.3 FM. My name is Doris Okorie. Let's go on a quick break and we'll be right back. Don't touch that dial. Welcome back. You're tuned into the Creatives on Radio Now 95.3 FM. My name is Doris Okorie. I have with me in the studio a producer par excellence. She's a filmmaker who has a knack for telling very good stories. She has worked on projects such as Mama Drama, Tiger Still, Namaste Wahala, Before Valentine's, Finding Hobby, Hire a Man, When Love Happens, and many more. Welcome, Diche Enunwa. Thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you.
Quick one, your hair. How do you maintain your hair real quick?
I have a loctician, so she worries about the hair. I just go there.
You just go there and sit on
Yes,
so
I'm telling
bougie,
you, I'm really bad with the hair. Like I don't do any kind of self-care or anything.
Right.
Like I just wake up, I throw water and just, move. So she does all the work.
It's so pretty.
Thank you.
And I wish I could, have the courage to be a dread. Do you guys have like a name or something? Dread gang?
We should. I'm not aware, but it'll be great to have one. But you should join us. I mean, I feel like this is what God intended when He gave us the kind of hair He gave us. 'Cause
Right.
there's no way He gave us that hair was expecting us to comb it.
Right. Okay. So, Diche, let's get right into this interview. So there are three major stages in production. That is the pre-production, the production itself, and the post-production. Can you give us, a breakdown of what each entail?
Okay, so the pre-production, which is the part I absolutely love,
Okay.
is everything from getting the story, from getting it written, planning who you want the cast to be, planning who your crew will be, planning, production meetings, planning any kinds of rehearsals, maybe auditions, just trying to get everything that you need together.
Okay.
So, like I said, that's the part that I love. I usually get, tired when we get on sets, which is the weirdest thing. So, yeah, that's pretty much it, just all the pieces of the project management, as it were. So getting all the people that you need, all the resources that you need, all the money that you need, everything.
That's a very important
yeah,
one.
absolutely everything that you need, and making sure that your script is dope, everything at that stage. And then afterwards, the production itself, being on set, that's where you have your principal photography. That's from the moment we start shooting the project, if sometimes it's 5 days, sometimes it's 10 days, sometimes it's 14 days, sometimes it's 6 weeks, whatever it takes, if it's a series, if it's a movie, and then after that, your post-production is when you're done and the editors get on the work. So the whole cutting, editing, color grading, sound design, all of that.
Okay.
Basically.
So can you run us through your day when you're preparing for a production? How do you start your day from morning until maybe, give or take, nighttime?
So I'm on the phone a lot.
Okay.
Calling people. I'm also calculating a lot because you're trying to pull in budgets. You're trying to make sure that it fits into your budget. Going on Instagram, social media. Like I said, I always like to find new talent. It's something that I'm really excited about.
Right.
We'll always put the faces that people know because you want your project to also be commercial and marketable.
Yes.
But I'm always so excited when I find one person who I feel like I found something nobody else has. That's how I feel like, oh, this person, she's amazing and nobody else has used that. Let's do this. So I'm always looking, at monologues. People send me stuff. I know a lot of producers don't send me. I'm not averse to them. I'll watch them. If I don't like it, I probably won't give any feedback or anything. But if I do, I'll absolutely call you. So I'm always on the phone making calls. We have WhatsApp groups. I'm checking, making sure people have done what they're supposed to do. We have a schedule. So you're trying to follow the schedule. Okay, by this time, the script should be out. By this time, costume has to get back to the director by this time. So we're just basically following the schedule and making sure that everything, is on time and on point.
So a little intellectual birdie told me you used to work as a dentist. Right, right. So my question is, at what point did you know that it was filmmaking for you?
Not soon enough, obviously. So I've always loved to tell stories.
Okay.
When I was much younger, I remember that in primary school, secondary school as well, I would, gather my friends around and I'll just tell them stories. Some happen, some never happen.
Right.
Doesn't matter, they're just having a good time, And I didn't know that that was a thing. I didn't think it was anything. I didn't think it was a talent. I didn't think it was anything to even, care about. So I just knew that I love to tell stories. And if I watched a movie and I told you about it, you've watched it.
Right.
You've watched
everything in detail.
Yes, I will do the voices. I will do everything. Everything in detail. I remember my sister said one time she went to a salon and the movie was playing and she kept on saying, I've watched this film, but I've not watched it. I don't understand. Like, everything is new, but I know exactly what. And they said, oh, Diche just did. I get it now.
Oh, nice.
So I'm that storyteller. So
Right.
I've always been a storyteller. And then at some point, but because I was like a nerd, I wore glasses, brilliant. Everybody assumes, oh, science class.
Right.
So that's what happened. So they threw me to science class. And I wasn't failing. So it was like, okay. But I wasn't excited about it. I wasn't happy. But I didn't know that at the time. And then afterwards, at some point, I just continued. So I got to 400 level in dentistry, I remember. And I just knew that something was wrong. I just knew that I shouldn't, like,
why am I
I don't want to be here.
teeth?
And I remember I called home and I was crying.
Aww.
And I thought, my mom, I don't want to do this anymore. And I was like, you already had 400 level. What's remaining? Just finish. So I just finished, right?
Right.
And then you're done now. Just, do your house job. What else is there to do? I did my house job. I did my NYS. I started working. I was okay. I was doing the job. I mean, my boss liked me. Everything was going good. But I just was not excited.
Right.
And so I joined the church. And one day I was in the church and they did a drama, I think. And I just sat there thinking, oh, should have done this. Oh, should have said this. Oh, it'd have been better if they did this,
Right.
And then when it was done, I went home and I wrote something. And I said, I'm looking for the person in charge of drama. I just want to give them a script that I had written. And very pedestrian script because I didn't have any training. But
Right.
I just knew that, make this thing interesting for people. So
yes.
I just wrote in Byron paper and then I gave it to the person. And then he just said, no, you have to head our script writing team. I'm like,
Oh, wow.
head your what?
Oh,
What are you talking
Just
about?
like that?
Yes, because they did it and the whole church just couldn't stop talking about it. I was like, hey, what happened? Like, I didn't see.
Nice.
And then after a while, Tope, who's my business partner, Tope Bolade Akimbode, she joined the church and then she joined drama. And so she joined the script writing unit. And so we started telling stories together and we just kind of flew. There were other people in the department, but you know how you just know that this person
this is your
gets me.
person,
Yes,
yes.
my person. So we started, just working together and everything. And then when we did our first project, which was When Love Happens,
Right.
which is a very interesting story on its own.
Very, very interesting.
A very interesting story on its own. Somebody just walked up to us one day and said, this thing that you do, they pay people for it, right? I'm like, oh, okay. And then a few months down the line, she's like, oh, there's a director that wants to do something. You guys should write something. Of course, we didn't have anything, and we told her as much. Like, oh, I don't do this professionally. But those were my words. I don't do this professionally. You're just doing it for church and just loving the Lord and having fun. So maybe you should go meet somebody else. And then, eventually, long story short, she came back and said, you guys must do this. So we wrote, a few pages and we sent it in, and the director absolutely loved it. And said, where's the rest? I was like,
what rest?
there's no rest. Okay. So we'll figure it out now. And so we finished it. And I was still working in the clinic at this time.
Okay.
So I was writing doing all of this in between patients. And then at some point, after When Love Happens came out, people just kept on calling us and say, oh, we heard you guys do When Love Happens. I want to do something like that. I want to do that. Like, okay, this is a thing. And I found that at some point I would be in the clinic and patients would come and I'll be upset. Like,
Yeah.
oh, people are,
Yeah,
I'm
like,
trying to write, like,
right.
and then I realized, no, this is somebody's business, and I wouldn't want somebody to do this to my business. Like,
Right.
well, the woman is literally praying for patients to come, and they
Right.
come, and somebody who's there is saying, oh, you know. So I knew that it was time. It was time to give this up and face what really makes me happy. So,
Right.
yeah. That was
Okay.
it.
So Diche, I love to hear experiences. So I would like to hear, your first experience as a producer. How on your first project, obviously, how was it? Good, bad, ugly? Let's hear.
So my first experience as a producer, I wasn't planning to be the producer. The producer bailed out on me, and I'm hoping she's watching this thing because I tell her every time. So it was actually a drama department in church as well decided, okay, we're done with stage. We're doing a lot of stage stuff, and we felt like, oh, it'd be better if we did something for YouTube, and put it out there so that more people can see what we do. So Topo and I wrote a script for a short film. It's called 12 Seasons.
Okay.
It's on YouTube, Soul TV Africa.
Okay.
So we wrote the script, and this same lady who came to us from When Love Happens, she was the person that had already agreed, oh, she's going to put, because I mean, that's what she does.
Right.
And last minute, she helped, we had some conversations. I was like, okay, no problem, she'll do this. And she kept on prompting me to do some things, like, okay, no, why don't you call this person? Okay, no problem, And I didn't know that she was preparing me somehow. And last minute she's like, oh, she can't come, she can't. So, you know what, Diche, you got this now. Diche, just do the.
I mean, we're doing this together now, so
I could not believe it. I felt betrayed. I was upset for about all of 2 days. But then I told myself, people are waiting on you. This thing has to work.
Right.
So, okay, this is the date. This is what we need to do. Okay, everybody now speak to me now, because I'm now in charge of production and everything. And it wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be. I just felt like, okay, I'm literally like an event planner or something.
Right.
Like, I'm just planning the event of this shoot.
Right.
So I just decided, okay, you can do this. I wore the hat. And Topa kept saying, yeah, you could do this, But I was eyeing her. But then I said, okay, fine. And we did it, and we produced it, and we went on YouTube, and everybody was just raving about it.
Nice.
It got so many views in a very short time. And that wasn't just, it wasn't just about the views. It was about people who were calling and say, oh, this movie helped my marriage. Or, I sent this movie to my husband. I've been telling him about counseling, and he's been saying no. But once he watched the movie, I was like, okay, you know what, let's go for counseling. And that was, the real success story for me about analyzing, okay, yeah, we can do this.
You speak very passionately about producing. If you were to pick either or between writing and producing, which one would you stick to if you had to pick just one?
That's such a hard one now. Because maybe if you had asked me 2 years ago, I'd ask, writing in a heartbeat, right? But, there's this, there's also this joy that producing gives you, where you see, oh, I actually woke up one day and put this, I said, I called all these people and they answered me. And they showed up like, this will feel like I know what I'm doing, okay. So writing will always be a first love. Writing is what got me here, just being able to pour your heart and soul on paper or on the laptop screen or whatever is something that I would never get tired of. Never. Absolutely never. So I would still say writing, but the difference, maybe it's just in decimals.
Right.
But yeah, I'd say writing.
Okay. So usually you hear things like, it's like wrestling, right? Where it's like this wrestler versus this wrestler, or boxing. There is always this cast versus crew type thing going on, right? On set, it's like beef. Cast, they're like, crew too, they're like, As a producer, how do you resolve cast and crew drama?
I think that the oil flows from the head, if you ask me. Like, on every production, is the way that those at the top are treating everybody that determines how everybody will treat each other. So how's the director treating everybody? How's the producer treating? How are the executive producers treating everybody? I think that it's the energy sort of, flows from them. Just because you don't want anybody to ground the production, sometimes you can send one group person off and everybody else will chip in and find a way to do it sometimes. But if an actor says, I'm good, what do you do? So I mean, there will always be that. It will all sometimes look like, you're doing preference and all that, but it's just the producer trying to make sure that we keep going. But on the average, you need to let everybody know that we're all in this together. Everybody is equally important. From everything, the way that you welfare, accommodations, everything, people can tell, okay, this production is not saying these people are better than these people,
Right.
you know, by all of these things that we're seeing. So I think it will just flow easily into, you know, the way everybody's energies are with each other.
Right.
Yeah.
Filmmaking sounds like a lot of fun. Oh, you know, we're creating something, you know, oh, the dresses are pretty, the hair, the makeup, the celebrities everywhere, da 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 da. Yes, it's fun. But there are always challenges in everything. What challenges do you face as a producer?
Doing anything in Nigeria.
Nigeria always Nigeria.
Yes, so that's the first thing. Nigeria usually Nigerians
Yes.
when you're producing, right?
Yikes.
So yeah, there are a couple of challenges. First thing will be getting the funds that you need. Sometimes, you know, when I sort of started, you know, producing and talking to some producers, the vibe that I got was manage what you have, right?
Right.
But after a while, I went for a training where we were taught by Hollywood producers, and the vibe that I got from them was no, get what you need. And so that switched things up
And
for
you're
me
like, I'm not-
immediately. Yeah,
yeah,
because
I'm not
there's
doing
this
this with you.
limiting mindset that, oh, we don't have, it's 5 naira, just
It's
use
low
it like
budget
that.
now,
It's low
it's
budget, you know.
just,
Everybody, we don't have budget on this thing. It's so is you know. So immediately I had that training, my mindset switch. I mean, I've even learned anything else, but that was, you know, don't manage what you have, get what you need. So that was the first. So that limiting mindset was the first challenge that I had as a producer, because that managing thing was driving me crazy till I realized that that's not what makes you a producer. What makes you a producer is being able to get what you need. Right. So I switched immediately, and so that challenge, you know, kind of just went out the window. But there are others, so many other things that could happen, you know, things that you don't plan for. Yes, we plan and plan and plan, but can wake up one morning and, for example, there was the movie that we did, Wedding Night Blues. So it was a small film, right? But we had one big scene, which was a wedding. So I had made up my mind that we were going to do everything to make that scene stand out. Because every other thing was like in the room, in the house, in the kitchen. But this was like an outside. So we said, oh, we'll have the wedding outside, like a garden wedding, you know, just to make it so beautiful
cute
and romantic.
and unique,
And it was the very first scene, the bride walking down the aisle. So I had done everything. I called an event planner. She had done the decor. Like, yeah. I was, all the money, I said, no, this one, I must do this scene like mad, you know, got the wedding gown, did everything. So she even had a banner where she wrote the bride and the groom's name. Like, I went all out on the floor. So she was setting up and we were shooting in a hospital.
Okay.
So, you know, where were they? And funny enough, I was playing the doctor. It was a small part, just the doctor coming in to say, oh, she'll be fine, but it wasn't any big deal. So we were at the
doesn't want to tell us that she's an actor, but she is.
So we were there, next in the clouds just started getting dark.
What?
I said, no, this is a lie. It's a lie now. And another thing was, so I called a lot of people, like friends, family. I was like, you guys just dress up the way you would dress to a wedding, because I didn't have the money that I needed for the kind of extras that I wanted.
Right.
So in my mind, I said, okay, I would feed them like it was a bag. I would bring food like it was a proper wedding and everything. But everybody just dressed nice. So I had, you know, people from church, just different people say, okay, no problem. And they'll dress up, they'll come, you know, even asking me what colors, their color theme. I was like, no, don't worry. So I already had a vision of how that. So, you know, it was time for me to come in and act. Rain now started falling.
Hey. What?
So because when it was getting dark, the event person that was doing decor called me. I was like, Diche, what's happening? Like, clouds, where are you guys? Hey, I said it will not rain. It cannot rain. It's not possible. It will not. There was no sign. Do you understand? Like, there was no sign. Say, what are you not rain? So I saw that my whole demeanor was changing. She kept saying, Diche, just do this. Like, to act the part safe. Don't ever go for another doctor. I know she said, Diche, please now. Just, you're already dressed. Just enter and say, I'll enter. She's like, we can see that you are thinking. Do your face. So even trying to enter and do what I was supposed to do, I was so flustered. I was so frustrated. Rain carried everything away. Like
Everything
decor, everything flew away. The place was wet. My guests, there were some people who had made it
Oh my days.
and were dressed up and everything. By the time I got there, I saw them. They were hiding inside one place, and I was sad. I was so sad. So I had to, we had to do it all over again. I had to, and thankfully, the decor lady, she was, oh, I could save this, I could save that, but I still had to bring out some extra money, so we had to do it all over again. But the people that I needed couldn't make it because now I was shooting on a weekday. Because I planned it on a Saturday, so they were not going to work and everything. So I had to shoot it the next day, on Monday. Because I was using the outside of a church, so I couldn't shoot on Sunday. So I had to shoot on a Monday, and everyone was like, oh, I'm going to work. Oh, I'm doing that. Like, so it was, place was scanty, I wasn't happy. But, so, I just had to shake it up and say, oh, it happens. Because before then, our productions have always been no problem. Because when people are talking about issues, I'm like, hey, we don't have issues.
I can relate.
Can't you get, like, hey, camera fell, wow, did you pray? Okay, okay. Actor walked up, no, my actors are amazing, When this one happen, no more.
Did you go back to share with those people?
No. Are you Elena? But yeah, after that I was like, okay, I added 1 star to my
uniform.
Yeah. I'm now a general. I've been through it. I know how it feels. Yeah, so that just some things you don't plan. When we did Mama Drama, we had and this one I didn't produce, but I was one of the executive producers, so my money, blood, sweat, tears, everything was there.
Wow.
And so we're hoping, we're pumped up about the cinema release. We had done all the publicity that we could do, billboards everywhere, this, that. And then the very day that we're supposed to open in the cinemas, which was March 20, 2020.
She remembers.
Yeah, of course
so
I
you
do.
Know it's real.
March 20, 2020. It was a Friday, and that was the day that all cinemas shut down. So because of COVID.
Right.
So we couldn't show the film. And we didn't know if we would ever be able to show the film. Like, we didn't know what was going to happen. Nobody knew how long this would be. Oof. Was it a few days? Was it a few months? So it was ridiculous. And then after COVID lifted, we're the first film, scheduled to go up.
Right.
And so went up, and people weren't comfortable about going to the cinemas yet. So the turnout was abysmal. And of course, as a producer or as an executive producer, it's a business. So you have like your business projections. Okay, this is what I think this movie will make. And when the movie is not even making it tight of what you thought it was going to make, So yeah, there, so many challenges, but being passionate about it helps, because that means you would get up the next day and do it, even though you swear, because I had it. The people that are close to me, feel, God forbid. I will never do it again, but that's a lie, because the next day I wake up with a story and I can't wait
to get on.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go on a quick break and we'll be right back. You're tuned into The Creatives on RadioNow 95.3 FM. My name is Doris Okorie, and I have with me in the studio producer, screenwriter, Diche. Don't touch that dial. Welcome to The Creatives on RadioNow 95.3 FM. My name is Doris Okorie, and I have with me in the studio producer, storyteller, Diche. So Diche, that your story is, I'm still shaking, but let's just carry on with this interview. There are a lot of content coming out in the Nigerian space, and now that we have platforms aside TV, like the African Magics and the Irokos, etc., and web, like YouTube, we have streaming platforms now. What can you say about the type of content that we're churning out in the Nigerian film industry?
So, I mean, if we know where we're coming from, then we'll be able to appreciate where we are now. So, we've all watched how Nollywood was, way back. I mean, they did what they could with what they had, right? But I think that filmmaking generally has stepped up. Everybody now knows that, okay, it's either big or go home. Right. So everybody's trying to go big, production value, actors. I do wish that we would go bigger on stories. I feel like we're still safe, playing it safe there on the average. So, people are staying with genres that they are safe with. People are telling stories that, sometimes they've seen before. It'll be good to just see people, just break free a little bit more. I know that, with producers, it's more about the money. I want to be sure that I can make my money back. So if a rom-com made their money back, then I'm comfortable. making a rom-com. If I see a drama that's made their money back, then I'm comfortable making a drama. But I feel like people should take more risks. That would be good to see. Yeah, I understand that you know,
Right.
people are scared, but I think that it'd be great to see, more of that. But generally, wow, we're light years ahead from where we're coming from. And
Great.
it's good to see.
Like you said, we're light years ahead, and comparing what we have now to what we had even a year ago, we're really leaping real
Yeah.
quick. What do you think that the Nigerian film industry could do, to get bigger, and then or what strategies do you think that can be used for the Nigerian film industry and its content to be recognized internationally?
So I think it also boils down to the kind of stories that we're telling.
Okay.
Right. I think that if we took more risks and told more of our stories, I think it would be interesting for the international community to see. We've gotten to the point where we're a bit, I don't know, I don't want to say we've plateaued with our stories. Like, it's rare to find something that, oh wow, I've never seen this before, That's, we don't see too much of that. And it'll be great, to see us tell more of our own stories, to do new things. I have a dream where I do like an African, maybe an Igbo girl story or Yoruba girls, and it's an animation, and Disney picks it up, right? Because we've seen Mulan,
Right.
we've seen Pocahontas. So they've gone to India, they've gone to China. What's wrong with Africa,
Right.
right? And it'd be good to see a Nigerian story. Actually, of a little girl in some little village in
Right.
the east or in the
The
west
mystical
or in the
thing.
north. Yeah, and but I feel like we're not digging deep enough into those. So some people are trying, some people are beginning to get there. But I think that if we do it more and more, and on a larger scale, trust the process, then the international community will open up to us on that level. Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest things that we should be thinking. Story.
Right.
Always.
Okay. Mentioning story, mentioning, the old versus the new. I mean, we also touched on certain type of like animation or maybe epics like the Wakandas and all of that.
Exactly.
We've had stories like Egg of Life, Ijele. Those were very African, and we're not seeing that anymore. Do you think that bringing those type of movies, but making it, because of course people always think of, oh, what camera are you using? I'm using a red, I'm using a this, I'm using a that. I think personally that maybe we've shifted, right? Do you agree that we've shifted from the story to the look, the costume, the hair, the makeup, rather than the story itself? And do you think that we should bring back the old times and just maybe tush it up, basically?
So I think it's a function of where we are as a people generally.
Okay.
So, for example, with the advent of social media, there's a lot of focus on glossiness and
Right.
picture and perception and nobody wants to look. I don't want one hair out of place.
Raggedy.
We're using filters,
Right.
because we're trying to go away from reality as much as we possibly can, and even as a people embracing our culture, a lot of people are bleaching, doing all to, do that with
Right.
our hair. Everybody's, no shade to anybody, but I feel like as a people generally, forget storytelling, because that's just an aspect of life. Filmmaking is just but as in life generally, people are kind of veering more away from culture. Less children are able to speak our language.
Yes.
We're all guilty. I'm
Right.
guilty. my kids speak English. They
Guilty.
can't speak their language. And
Right.
that's a disaster, if you ask
I
me.
think so.
If I were to make
Too.
maybe an epic film right now, I'll have to consult somebody. I'll have to ask questions. I'll have to do research. I don't know if I know any epic stories enough to just say, oh, I'm just writing one story
Right.
about one woman in the village. I don't know anything. So it's easy to pick up and tell stories that we know. So I've been in the city. I was born here. I was born in Lagos. I'm born in the city. I enter cars. I don't know anything about going to fetch water in the stream.
Right.
So you'll find that that's my reality. So if I'm telling stories, that would be the stories that I would, automatically tell. But then I feel like we also need to, dig deep, because what will happen is that all of that will be wiped away, and one day a generation will wake up and not even know where we're from.
Right.
So, we need to consciously, because like I said, the immediate thing for you to think, like, let me tell a story of the city because that's where I am, that's what I know. It will have to be a deliberate attempt. We have to be intentional about taking our stories, going back to culture and saying, okay, that Igodo story, I'd like to do it with the red and,
Right.
do something amazing with it. What's Thor? Thor is Shango now.
Right.
So,
Right.
they'll say Aquaman, but we had Mami Water.
Right.
And we had all these things, but we just threw them away and didn't, we're not telling those stories. So I think that we need to research more. We need to just embrace our culture first as a people. Then it will overflow into the films that we're telling, into the stories that we're telling, into the way that we raise our children, into everything. It will just automatically over.
Initially, I used to be confused, and I'm sure maybe most people are still maybe a little bit confused. What is the difference between a producer and an executive producer?
So the executive producer is where the money came from.
That's the bank. That's the bank.
In lay terms, yes.
Right.
Or maybe somebody who brought some kind
Okay.
to the project. It may not be physical cash.
Okay.
Sometimes you have celebrities who are executive producers, maybe because you're not able to afford them at the time. So they're like, you know what? Don't pay me everything, or don't pay me. I'll just get the executive producer credits and then a percentage of the film. So when you go and sell the film, then I can get like a dividends from it or whatever. So it's usually where the bank is coming from. That's the executive producer. The producer is someone who plans the project, who puts the project together. Sometimes the person who brings the money is also the person who puts the project together.
Okay.
So you're both the executive producer and
Producer.
the producer.
Okay. So the executive producer brings the money, and then the producer manages the money.
Yeah,
great.
Absolutely.
Okay. So how profitable would you say the filmmaking industry is?
Not as profitable as you would hope.
I like the fact that I'm being truthful. How so?
So, like with everything, we're not where we would like to be as an industry generally. I mean, we're doing amazingly well. If you've been, anybody who's been in the industry for more than 5 years knows that where we were before is not where we are right now. Everybody's getting paid better. Writers are getting paid better. Directors, all of that. But still, I think that there's some structures that need to be put in place that will protect producers, protect executive producers, help them to, because we don't have, you make a film now and there's no assurance that you will make your money back.
Wow.
And that's scary. I know it's business, but there has to be a bit of an assurance that, okay, you have to be able to draw a straight line from the script to the money. And right now we can't. It's always just, we're winging it. So sometimes even distributors, they see a film do well and you ask them why. What are the steps? Like, what exactly did this person do? Actionable steps that somebody else can replicate and get the same results. We don't have that. It's the weirdest thing.
Wow.
Like, somebody can take a movie to the cinema, its genre, maybe even by the same writers or whatever, to the cinema, make an amazing kill. And somebody will try to replicate that exactly and not make any money at all. So it's because of that, it's difficult to get investors who are not passionate about filmmaking. Who, if an investor who is just about the money, he wants to see you draw a straight line from where I'm putting my money to where I'm getting it back. So I don't forget story. What's my business with the story? But you also find people that are actually pouring money into the industry are people who love storytelling, who are passionate. So they lose some money, but we enjoyed making that. It was fun doing that. They don't feel too bad. But people who are who are all about the money, it's a bit difficult. And I think that we need to all go back and really look at the drawing. But I haven't figured it out. I don't think anybody has. At least people have figured it out and telling others.
Right.
So either way, it's not across. There's no general way we know that, okay, if I buy this and I sell this, I will make this. Everybody's just kind of walking on faith and vibes and just hoping that it works out well. I would like to see the business side of things more structured. I think it's also creatives. Sometimes we're not really interested in how the business of things work.
Right.
We're just happy with telling the story, and oh, the people were happy. That's what
Right.
mattered. Like they watched my film and they were, how much did you make? But some people are making the killing too. So I think as time goes on, we'll all figure it out and it will get better. But so far, so good. It's not bad.
Okay.
It's not bad. Just that it can be better, and we hope it will be.
Doris become a filmmaker. Okay, noted. So, are there any new projects that we should look out for?
Oh yeah. So we have Wedding Night Blues, which is the one where all the
Kasala.
So please watch that film, because
Watch it.
when that film comes out, because oh god, that film taught me that
Some
production is not
lessons.
space.
Right.
On that project, I cried. On that project, I almost
wow.
felt sick. On that project, it was a lot, but it's okay. It's coming out soon, so support a girl.
Right.
Just as Girls is a series, is coming out soon as well. On the Edge is a movie. Beautiful movie, if I say so myself.
Right.
Coming soon. So yeah, there's quite a number of things. We're going on set very soon as well. So yeah.
So, what are your aspirations in life?
Well, aspirations in life. Well, one of the things that I really aspire to is that when I eventually leave this world, there'll be
Right.
people who would say, "Oh, because Diche was here, this happened," right? I don't want it to be all about, oh, she made money, she did this. That's good, and that will happen, trust me. But it's something that I really would like, where people are telling their stories and they will say, oh, there was this person I met one time, Diche, and because of that I wanted to do this, and because of that I did this, and because of this happened. I pour into teenagers a lot. I work with teenagers in church because I feel like if nobody is pouring into the next generation,
Right.
it will be a disaster.
True.
What happens next? So I just aspire to be an inspiration, to be the reason why somebody didn't give up, to be the reason why somebody decided to take a risk, to be the, because I used to tell people that, see, if I can do anything, anybody can do it, because I'm the most laid back person. I'm the most, I don't want to do anything, I just want to sleep and be paid for existing. But
baby girl life.
do you
okay?
get, but usually I tell people like, if I can do this thing, you can do it as well. So yeah, that's a big aspiration, to just know that when I'm gone, somebody will be telling their story and say, oh, I didn't want to do this, but then I met Diche and this happened. That's
actually
all. I'll be
quite-
smiling from heaven.
That's nice. So, what advice can you give to filmmakers that are already in the industry, maybe young, or filmmakers who are interested in coming into the industry?
So filmmakers who are interested in coming to the industry, first thing I'll say is be passionate about it. Like, you need to love it, because there are times when it won't love you back.
Right.
So you need to remind yourself of why you got here in the first place. So you're going to absolutely have to love it, because that's what will keep you here. For those who are already here, I mean, you're already here, you're doing your thing. Just aspire to be the best that you possibly can be. People are always looking for the best anything. People are looking for the best screenwriters, best directors, best DOPs, best everything. Worst case is, they will get to the point where they can't afford you, but the first thing everybody's looking for is who's the best. And if you're the best, then you always be booked and busy.
Yeah.
So trainings, getting better, watching other people's films. I've met filmmakers who don't watch Nollywood films. I don't get it. Like, yeah.
Sorry. Pardon?
Yes. A Nollywood screenwriter would tell you that I don't watch Nollywood, and they're saying with pride.
Wow.
Oh, I've cancelled, like, you're exed immediately.
Wow.
I don't get it.
I don't either.
So, they say, oh, I will watch foreign films. Awesome. So how about you just hang in there till so you get Shonda Rhimes gives you a call, like, because I don't get,
because I don't understand.
you get, so just totally immersing yourself in it. It's going to require a lot, so you have to have a lot to give.
Right.
Yeah, you can't just think, oh, I'm gonna enter because I want to be a celebrity, so that people will see me. People will see you, but that can't be the reason why.
Right.
That's what brings disappointment. That's what brings, people getting depressed and say, I'm depressed. Why are you depressed? Because you wanted something that you know you're not going to get. So just hanging in there, being passionate about it, and striving to be the best at everything that you do. That's it.
Okay, so I know you and your partner Temi Talkware, you guys are both of you are very big on collaboration. So can our listeners or viewers have, contact, maybe a handle, your Instagram handle,
Okay.
so they can reach you to maybe learn from you or, collaborate with you?
Okay, so my personal handle at Diche5, so that's at DEECHAY 5.
Okay.
Right. And for our business handle, that's at Writers in Concept. So Writers, WRITERSINK
Okay.
CONCEPTS at Writers in Concept. So you can reach out. We have a training platform where we train screenwriters. You can just be a storyteller who doesn't even know how to write at all,
Okay.
or you could be somebody who started writing but doesn't know how to break into the industry, or it could even be a writer who's maybe done one or two jobs and you're feeling like, oh, I'm not getting the kind of jobs that I want, or how do I make myself a brand, a screenwriting brand to be reckoned with. We have different classes for that. So if you go to at Writers in Concepts, you see all of that. For my page, like I said, I'm always looking out for new talent. Always looking. We love to collaborate because we always say two good heads are better than one, right?
Right.
So imagine what three good heads can do,
Right.
or four. So we're always open to collaborations. All our productions have been collaborations, except for Night Blues. I think we did that alone.
Okay.
But most of the time we're open to collaborating, not with just anybody, because we're very would I say the word is spiritual? So we're feeling you out,
Right.
spirit and everything. Like, do we? Because the energies,
Right.
must align. Very important. So yeah, but we're very big on collaboration. So yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Diche, for coming through.
You're welcome.
So that was another exciting episode of The Creatives, the entertainment show that brings to you all the creatives and how they make the magic you see, hear, and feel. I hope you enjoyed it and learned a lot like I did. And of course, if you have any comments or questions, please contact us on our social media platforms at RadioNow 953 FM with hashtag The Creatives. So from me, Doris Okorie, and the entire Creatives team, I'll see you next week with another exciting guest. Ciao!